Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of the Mayor Tyler Moore Show here on the Kokomo Post. My name is Drew Larison. This is MTM. This show is brought to you by Robert Miller and Son Furniture.
That it is. Has been for a while.
Mr. Mayor, how are you?
Doing well, thanks. Coming off a great weekend, was able to do somewhat of an ambassador trip to Miami, Oklahoma. Not only to meet with the chief and tribe there of the Miami, but also had the opportunity to meet with the mayor and the city manager of Miami as well to hear how they've worked with the tribe and their development, and actually came away with some pretty good ideas and possibilities on how to implement some things up here as well. So productive all around.
Very cool.
Yep.
Love that. Well, before we get started today, let's give a shout out to Robert Miller and Son because they are the partner of this show. The New Year's sale is here at Robert Miller and Son. It's a great time to refresh your home. For a limited time, save up to 50% on our in-store clearance items. If you'd rather create something that fits your space perfectly, they're also offering 30% off all custom orders. Choose your fabric, your style, your comfort, and let us help you build the piece that you've been wanting. It's a new year chance, it's a new year, and a chance to make your home feel brand new again. Stop in and look around, see what kind of savings you can start the new year with. It goes through February at Robert Miller and Son. So come in and check them out and find something you'll love. Shout out to Robert Miller and Son for being the partner here on the Mayor Tyler Moore Show.
And here we are in February. So
love it.
Get moving, folks. It's a short month.
It's true. Shortest one we got.
Yeah.
What's going on at City Hall this week?
A lot of follow-up from last week's winter event. I mean, going through and discussing what works, what doesn't work, what things we need to do. But once again, kudos to our city street department, the wastewater department, our parks department, traffic department, all those folks coming together to help clear the streets. And as daunting a task as it was with the 24-hour snowfall that went from Saturday evening to Sunday evening, I think they did a bang-up job eventually getting to the secondaries quicker than what we thought they might, not as quick as what a lot of people would think, but I thought they did a great job because by time Tuesday, there were still some areas that needed touched up or addressed, but they were on that, and so to have 24 to 48 hours of the majority of the city hit after having to stay on the primaries quite a bit through Sunday as things continued to come and down and drift, they did good, but outside of that, had the opportunity last week to meet and greet 13 potential or the new recruits for the Kokomo Fire Department. So I know a lot of people have seen on social media that there's been a few that have retired, and I mean that's been the case for the last 6 years. That both police and fire have had quite a bit of individuals retire or leave the department. Just in the fire department alone, taking these next 13 out of the equation, I mean, we've hired probably between 45, I think, between 40 and 45 firefighters and about between 50 and 55 police officers. But again, because there weren't the additions in years prior, a lot of those are aging out. So we got a lot of young ones in. So it's great and encouraging to see the largest training class we've had thus far for the fire department coming in and helping us to reload. So good stuff.
I love that. Very cool.
Kudos to Training Chief Jason Ellers for keeping it all straight and getting them learned. Learned and prepared.
I love that.
Learned and prepared.
Got some people saying hi in the chat.
Hey.
Wesley Allen says hello.
Good afternoon, all. Thanks for tuning in.
Brian Vick says he was not too impressed with that groundhog today.
I don't think too many folks were. Yeah. But so I had a handful of meetings today, and a few others had indicated that other cities also have their little Punxsutawney Phils. I mean, their little groundhogs that they go to. Somebody mentioned even the Indianapolis Zoo checks in with their groundhog. That there was mixed reviews. So it seems like that groundhogs across the country are like every weather forecaster.
Not
it can be
right a lot.
Different and not unique or not consistent in their forecasting. Sure. So don't know, folks. It could be 6 more weeks of winter. It could be 2 more weeks of winter. Who knows? Fingers crossed that it's fewer than more.
There's only one way to find out, and it's wait.
Write it out.
And wear a coat. And
check the Farmer's Almanac. Still got a lot of folks that live and breathe by the Farmer's Almanac.
It's interesting, isn't it?
Isn't it?
Data is powerful. So I mean,
Data
I can't deny the power of data and looking at the history of things. And I don't know. I can't trust a human weathercaster. I have a hard time trusting a rodent weathercaster. It is what it is. I see people joining the chat, so good to see. Thanks you guys for joining today and watching us live.
Quite a bit of pre-show
questions as always.
Need to knock them out. Some repetitive, so hopefully we'll get some answers that'll cover those, and we can get through as best we can.
Absolutely. So if you have any questions, we got a few questions in the chat already. If you have any questions for the mayor, ask them live. Type them into that chat. I'm pulling over to my notes, and we'll be asking those live or after we go through these pre-show questions, and we will go from there. So let's get started. First one is from BK on Facebook. What is the plan for the land east of the battery plant?
They're probably talking about the signs that have gone up. And so the land east of the battery plant, kind of northeast of the battery plant, right around the interchange there at Toby Pike, it has started out as, yes, there's rezoning, but it's because the property owners themselves have approached the city and asked to be voluntarily annexed. The city has not pursued that ground, has not approached those landowners. Now, if there's companies that have approached those landowners and done so, the city has not been a part of that. Now, we are a part of, obviously, answering their wishes and requests to be voluntarily annexed into the city. And so part of what that process involves from their requests, again, is to be rezoned as well to the same classifications that are already or have recently been done in that area. So the annexation request in case, as well as the rezoning, have been at the request of the property owners and landowners. Who they've been talking to or what they have in mind is up to them and probably proprietary. There is hinting around, of course, about a data center being thrown into the mix because data centers have been looking for various areas in Indiana. So it's probably not surprising that one of the potential interests with those property owners could be that. But in any case, what I'm excited about is that early on, 6 years ago, we came in and wanted a dedicated industrial park. We, for decades, and previous administrations, folks throughout the community said we were very reliant on the automotive industry, which has been great for Kokomo, which is great for Howard County and central Indiana, and we want to continue to support that and foster that, but there's still the need and desire to diversify. And so, if anything, with this ground being up in that area, being asked to be annexed and rezoned, we could use that hopefully to entice other industry to try and diversify our economy. So
we did have a question live too. Is that the same land? Is it 400 North, 50 East, or is that something else? Because if
it could be, I don't know the address of what's being, but that could be because there's a handful of parcels there. Some owned by the IEDC still, and others still privately owned. But yeah, it could very well be the 400 up and around 450 East.
Okay,
but I think it's a little further. Again, it's land around the Toby Pike interchange.
We just had a live question from Ryan, and I wondered if that was the same, area we're talking about.
Yep, that could be one of the parcels.
Got it. Gary on Facebook, Mr. Mayor, what type of specific battery is the current battery plant producing? Auto, data batteries?
No, so right now the one line that has been open and operational is for the electric vehicles. That's still part of their partnership with an agreement with Stellantis. So Stellantis and Samsung. So they're producing batteries for the EVs. The additional lines being retooled will be for additional battery storage products that will potentially be available to some of Samsung's other clients or customers. So what those specifically are, I don't know. That's, again, some of that could still be proprietary. We just know that they're retooling to broaden their product scope.
Okay. Gary had another question as
Okay.
well. Do you believe this public notice of significant noncompliance 2025, is accurate? If it is true, why would you allow the continuation of mismanaged waste? Why would you continue to allow them to be out of control? Does it not make sense the expansion of a data center or the additional battery plant will only compound our issues that appear out of our control?
Yeah, and that's the unfortunate thing. He's talking about notices that were published that wastewater management is or municipalities are required to publish when there's noncompliance. But what I understand with those is that those were violations due to really date back to the initial launching of those facilities, and a lot of what that byproduct that was in came from new pipes, so even though it says that there's serious violations, it's because we had set the standards initially through the wastewater treatment plant low enough to close to what residential levels would be, so as to better monitor and address and identify those. And so because of the levels established by wastewater were again set to what would be somewhat equivalent to residential versus commercial, it allowed greater insider investigation on what was coming out, so that greater, restrictions or compliance could be set into place. Those were rectified. Those have been taken care of. That's the problem with notices. It doesn't give information as to what those specific violations may be, and obviously Haynes was listed as that as well. A lot of that has to do with metals or additional byproducts, in the outflow that comes from those facilities, and a lot of those have to do with metals and other things. So it's, as I understand it, not as drastic or as vital or as dangerous as what simply listing that they were violations. I liken it to a speeding violation. If you get a ticket, you're going to get the same ticket if you're going 5 miles per hour over. If you are 20 miles now, there's going to be greater fines and such, but because it's just listing that there were violations, there's not actually more explanation for those. So,
okay,
wastewater is doing a great job keeping tabs on those and monitoring what's going in and out.
Got it. Joshua on Facebook, is there anything the city government can do to attract another grocery store in the form of incentives? In the last 15 to 20 years, we have lost several stores, and ever since COVID, stores no longer run 24 hours. This has created ultra busy / crowded stores. I believe the Kokomo residents could and would economically support another grocery location. Joshua Sheets on Facebook.
Going backwards through that, I couldn't agree more. I think the Kokomo community could support another major grocer in the area. I know we've answered this question a number of times on previous shows, but we can't force a grocery store to come in. We're ready. We've reached out, and unfortunately, some of the major grocers look and see the number of small box discount stores that offer grocery items, and in their minds see the market saturated with that, which is why we passed the ordinance restricting the number of small box discount stores to be developed. But like anything else, we can reach out, we can entice, we can offer what we can, but we can't force them here. And so we will continue to hope that as housing increases, as development increases, that major grocers see that as an opportunity and will change their minds and want to bring another grocery store or two to our area.
Got it. Susan on Facebook, in reference to animal control, I know that the city is in no way, shape, or form connected to the Humane Society, other than funding, which, by the way, is how much. Why in the world is it up to our already understaffed police force to deal with animal complaints that the Humane Society has deemed not their job? Who wants to come to Kokomo and join the force knowing that their titles would be a glorified dog catcher?
Well, yeah, they're not... They're not glorified dog catchers in that sense. Yes, KPD is being asked as well, not so much the Sheriff's Department, but KPD in particular, and I think Sheriff's Department as well. They're being asked to help address nonviolent animal situations. We're still just 30 days into this new arrangement with the Humane Society. She had asked how much we pay them. I think the city pays $346, somewhere around about $345,000 annually, and has for the last handful of years, to the Humane Society. But we were approached at the end of the year and had been requested by the Humane Society to increase that by a substantial amount, about 70,000 or so, in order to try to bring on an additional animal service officer to assist with calls. But because we stayed at the $345,000 to the Humane Society, that unfortunately took the after hours and weekend calls off of except for Saturday mornings. So anytime that the Humane Society has officially opened, they provide coverage, because that's when their service officers are in. But without the additional funding, that falls on the KPD, and so we've worked out an arrangement that if they're nonviolent, we then take them to the Humane Society and place them in the cages until staff can come in the next day and care for them and check. But if there's aggressive, they're still supposed to come out, and so we're still working through that transition. But it's because they had requested more money than the $345,000 that we had originally contracted with them for support. I know the county at one point was at $150,000, and they backed that down to $125,000. So Humane Society had lost a little bit of funding with that through the county to the tune of $25,000, and so they, like a lot of other nonprofits, are struggling to continue to provide the services they deem appropriate and necessary with the limited funding that they have. So that's where we be.
Next question is from Nadine on Facebook. Hey. What is the notice of zoning change by the battery plant all about? We've already talked about that.
Yeah, so agriculture to heavy industrial, because it's consistent with what's been done in that area to the contiguous properties, and it's a request being made by the property owners for rezoning and voluntary annexation into the city. The city was not driving that.
And is that a done deal, or is that still going through the process?
It's never a done deal till it goes through. Now, I know the property owners themselves, I believe, through their agent, have scheduled a meeting Thursday night. I'm not sure where it is, because again, it's not a city meeting, it's not a city town hall, but they're providing an informational meeting. I'm not sure who planned that or where it's being held, but that's Thursday evening. But obviously, with the annexation, granting that request of the property owners would go through the council, and then the rezoning goes through the planning commission. So those will be going simultaneously. All of those are public meetings. So not necessarily a done deal till it's a done deal.
Gotcha. And Johnny on Facebook was asking about the same kind of thing. Just what is that going to be used for? And just concerns.
Yeah, I mean, if it's heavy industrial, like I said, dedicated industrial park, if the property owners, depending on what businesses or corporations the property owners would be working with or, be developing.
Here's what's happening. There is like an unknown sign of zoning. Somebody saw it. They posted on the internet. Mm-hmm. People in Kokomo are freaking out about it. Like that's, I feel like, what's happening. So
yeah, and on that sign there's a case number, and so folks can get information from the Planning Commission office on that case number by stopping in there. But it's the property owners that have made the request of the Planning Commission for rezoning, and the property owners making a request of the city to be brought into the city limits, again, voluntarily. The city has not been driving either one of those cases.
Gotcha. Morgan on Facebook, sorry. How does Kokomo plan to support new residents and families coming to town for jobs at Star Plus Energy and other major employers?
So working on housing, because we'd love for them to work here as opposed to or not work here, but live here as opposed to living elsewhere. I know the schools are going through some expansions themselves now with the effects of Senate Bill 1 coming in and how property taxes and funding are going to be affecting not only municipalities but the school corporations themselves as well. They'll face those challenges, but again, trying to entice a major grocer to come so we have availability there. Working on amenities, trying to increase our trail system, working on the hotel conference center. So a lot of things that would make Kokomo exciting and a place for folks to want to live if they've got family that are going to be working at the battery plant, at one of the suppliers, or any other industry that may come to town.
Got it. Caitlin on Facebook, are you ever going to raise the minimum wage?
I know that's been asked before. A lot of times we'll follow along, what the state or federal government follow, and I get that there may be areas where ordinances are passed, but that would be something we would have to probably take to the business community as well to get them to weigh in, or if the business community are enough, approached the city administration or city council to consider proposing, we would, but it's not on the radar anytime soon.
Okay. Next question is from, let's see, Tiffany.
Hey.
Common or a frequent commenter here.
Okay.
This is not a criticism because there was a lot of snow and there are only so many places to put it. But on main roads, who is responsible for plowing or shoveling the parking spots so those people who live in those houses are not parked in the roadway? Can a vehicle be towed if it is too far out in the road? There are nearby spots that were plowed. That was her first question. You want to answer that? We'll
So, unfortunately, if there's trash totes or cars or such after a major snow event, our crews work their way around those as best they can. If the car has sat there for a while and we're done clearing, we don't get back to it per se. But for the most part, when we go back out 24 to 48 hours after an event, sometimes even 72 hours, that those guys do the best they can to go curb to curb to open up those parking spots. If a car is too far out in the roadway, if there's an obstruction, yes, owner can be notified to try and move it. So if there's space or someplace that she knows of, she can email and let us know, or call in and request that it be the owner be notified of that. But a lot of times, too, it's just because there's things, cars, totes, other things that prohibit the crews from getting curb to curb and clearing those parking spaces after something's been sitting there for a while.
Okay.
So definitely something that can be done.
Okay.
If you know where they are.
Second question was talking about the Humane Society allegedly not handling animal control inside the city limits, which we talked about that.
Yeah, and we're working through that. So again, KPD handles nonviolent animal situations in the evenings and weekends, but we're working through what that looks like, because there is still an addendum to the contract. The Humane Society would take aggressive or severely injured animals and can be on call to answer to those.
Gotcha. And her last question was once again talking about the industrial area up near Chrysler. So we talked about that too. But to be clear, you want to annex in and build up near Chrysler. Can you leave the trees and nature alone around the trail widely? As someone who uses the trail often, it's prettier up north of the trailhead, but it wasn't too bad going through Kokomo. To suddenly be surrounded by an industrial park or data farm while utilizing the trail is not quality of life focused. No one wants to hike/ride through ugly buildings or a data farm.
Yeah. So, the areas along the trails, if any of that area is adjacent to the trails, they'll try to leave some screening up for that. But as for the properties themselves, again, city doesn't own those properties. So what the property owners choose to do with their properties in and around, if it butts up to the trails or not, would be their decision to make.
Gotcha. Mm-hmm. Let's give a quick shout out to our friends over at the Kokomo Antique Mall. If you love the thrill of finding something truly one of a kind, you've got to check out the Kokomo Antique Mall. This isn't just a shop, it's a treasure hunt. With over 75 vendors and 3 full floors to explore, it's one of those places where you can wander for an hour and still feel like you've barely scratched the surface. You'll find everything from antiques and vintage decor to furnitures, collectibles, home to decor, and unique statement pieces that you won't see anywhere else. And because it's a multi-vendor mall, the inventory is always changing, meaning every time you visit, there's something new waiting around the corner. Whether you're a collector, a casual browser, or someone looking for that perfect piece for your home, you're bound to leave with something that has a story. I love that.
Yep.
They're open Tuesday through Sunday, 11 to 6, and it's a perfect spot to spend an afternoon browsing, treasure hunting, and supporting local vendors all in one place right here in beautiful downtown Kokomo. So next time you're downtown, stop by Kokomo Antique Mall, where every visit feels like a new find.
Look out.
Shout out to them.
Yep.
Thanks for being a partner here over the Kokomo Post and Mayor Tyler Moore Show. Next question is from Jordan on Facebook.
Hey.
What updates can you share on the efforts to address the substance abuse and expanding treatment availability in Kokomo and Howard County?
I know that some of our service providers are expanding their services, and so that's encouraging and quite the blessing to our community. The Rescue Mission now having their engagement center open not only has increased the number of beds that they can bring folks in and provide them services, but allows nonprofits to come in and meet with their residents and those that frequent the Rescue Mission on a more direct basis, which is great. First City Recovery has just had a ribbon cutting on their facility, increasing the number of individuals that they can provide services to. I know they're working on transitional housing with that as well, so that as folks work through that and better their lives, they're able to do that. And so bang up services done by CAM and Family Service Association. So really, I mean, with all that's available here in Kokomo, we are very blessed as a community, which is also the reason why there appears to be so many more individuals coming from other areas, to Kokomo, either directly being sent by those communities or cities, or them coming by word of mouth, knowing that Kokomo has quite an extensive network of supportive services available to folks. So I think they're doing a great job. And any opportunity folks can get to support our nonprofits that provide those services, I encourage that.
Gotcha. Next question is from Cheryl. Martin's grocery store out of Granger, Indiana would be awesome.
That would be great. I lived up in the South Bend and Elkhart area after college, and Martin's was my go-to grocery up there. That would be great. I know we've had a couple individuals reach out to Martin's as recent as a year or two ago, and just doesn't fit into their marketing plan at this time to come a little further south.
This has been talked about in the office a little bit too.
Okay.
Alec on Facebook. Why is the city making our long-awaited Chick-fil-A look like an off-brand Chick-fil-A? Let them have the signs on the building. Let's talk about this.
Yeah,
this is an interesting topic, and of course,
it's a branding thing.
It's a branding thing, but also the sign ordinances in the city.
So the sign ordinance. Yeah, the sign ordinance just prohibits pole signs, so they have to be ground signs. But then on the side of the building, it limits the size of the lettering. So Chick-fil-A could still have used their traditional branding if they wanted. They just had to reduce it to that size. I think they had asked for a variance to have larger letters. I don't know if it was to use the original one, but the ordinance simply restricts the size. Has nothing to do with the font. I did see that question on the post before, and I think somebody had posted a picture from a Chick-fil-A out in Colorado and had the same logo. So it could just be that Chick-fil-A is going through a new rebranding, and we happen to be the recipient of one of their new rebranding signs. Yeah, I know it's not the fancy large C with the little rooster or the chicken, in the C and such, but people rebrand.
It's Alec, the way you post that. We finally get our long-awaited Chick-fil-A. It's interesting because it is a shame, kind of, because I don't know, that karate studio that's been behind the mall for forever, right on 17th Street.
Oh, right. That used to be the comic shop.
Like they have the exact same type of red letters on like the side of their building that says karate. And I'm like, it's just kind of funny. Like they're just I think they're called like channel lock sign letters or something like that. There's like I don't know why I know that, but yeah, it does definitely look. I thought it was like temporary signage at first, but the comments online have been making me laugh this week. That's for sure. Jordan on Facebook: what would prevent the annex on the northeast side of Kokomo? There's a town hall meeting, but that seems like a formality when they're already out here surveying the land. Will the homeowners' voices actually make a difference? So a lot of comments on this.
Homeowners, meaning the neighbors that don't want those. I mean, because if the homeowners or property owners themselves that are being asked to annex say, hey, we've changed our minds, we don't want it, we're not going to annex them. I mean, so if he's talking about those individuals that will go to that meeting and say, hey, we don't want these properties to be annexed into the city, that would, again, the petition was made by the property owners. I mean, the city is not going out and doing an involuntary annexation or approaching those property owners and saying, hey, you need to come in or we want you to come in. They had made the request of the city and asked to be brought in. So if the property owners are there at the town hall meeting and they hear that and think, okay, well, yeah, I guess we're not it's not what the community wants, and we would agree if they withdraw their request for annexation, then that would make it a done deal.
Sure. Okay. Keisha on Facebook: what is going to be done about animal control? Humane Society refuses to answer calls from citizens or even police. Police may come out for a call, but if they cannot capture the dog, they leave. With aggressive dogs running around, what is the city doing to keep residents and their children and pets safe? So we talked about that earlier.
So a lot of the calls too. I mean, if you call out and an aggressive dog is still there and contained, if it's aggressive enough, then yes, we would get support from the Humane Society, or the police officers will take the matters into their own hands. But oftentimes too, by time somebody responds or something's called, the aggressive dogs have left. So we're working through that transition now with the current level of funding not falling into the plan or scope of the Humane Society in order to provide those services within the city limits regularly.
Alex on Facebook: with Kokomo's homeless population rising, how is the city planning to expand affordable housing and shelter options?
Affordable housing, like I said, we've got a number of multifamily units coming online, upwards to the tune of 1,800. Some of those market rate, some of those affordable. And so there will be some available. There's also single-family homes being made available. That's how we're trying to continue to address the housing needs, not necessarily the homelessness. Like I mentioned, Rescue Mission offering or expanding and offering that additional. We've supported their efforts in that, but have not looked into the possibility of a city-owned and run homeless shelter. A lot of times, as I've mentioned before on the show, many of the homeless don't want to go to these facilities because there's rules or there's things they can't do or things they can't take in with them. And so we would have the same restrictions as those facilities, again, because it would be taxpayer funded. And so there would be a responsibility of the taxpayers for that. And so we have not looked into a city-owned and run homeless shelter at this time because of what the availability is with the Rescue Mission and CAM and a few others.
Okay. Okay. Anne Marie on Facebook:
Hey.
why do some of the trolley stops have shelters and some don't? It doesn't seem right, and it's deliberate that only certain neighborhoods get them and others don't.
So we've talked about this on the show before. It is, I guess you could say it's deliberate, but unintentionally deliberate. I mean, it comes with accessibility or the availability either via easement or permission from a property owner. So because the shelters are on private property, they're not city-owned, that we would need the permission from the property owners in order to place a shelter. Sometimes because of the locations, there's not enough room for a shelter without going further onto a property owner's property. And so the shelters have been strategically placed based on the authority given or permission given by those property owners. Other places, just signs. But again, a lot of times that is to meet the population where they are, and in order to get them on the route and to keep the route as efficient as possible, those locations are done that way. But it just comes down to permission by the property owner or the availability of space on a given piece of property at a stop. And if we decide, okay, well, there might be space down this way, and you move a stop, 4 or 5 blocks down because the landowner down there would allow it, or it allows for more space, it could make it you could take it out of an area or accessibility to a larger population that uses this free transit system.
Oh, my goodness. Okay. Make sure I'm right here. Okay. Let's give a shout out to our friends over at Wolf's Smokehouse. If you're craving real barbecue, the kind that takes time, care, and serious smoke, then you have to check out Wolf's Smokehouse. Wolf's Smokehouse is a locally owned smokehouse and barbecue shack at 502 North Main Street in Kokomo, and they're doing things the old school way. They use fresh, never frozen meat, and they don't rush the process.
Right.
Their smokers are rolling from open to close because their tagline, "We smoke all day," isn't just a tagline. It's a promise.
Live it.
On the menu, you'll find everything barbecue lovers dream about: tender brisket, juicy chicken, savory sausage, fall off the bone ribs, and classic smoked bologna, all packed with flavor and smoked low and slow.
Yes, sir.
Wolf's has delicious signature sides, and they even offer catering so you can bring that smoke to your next party or work lunch. Here's the only warning: because everything is made fresh daily, Wolf's is known for one very real thing: they sell out every single day. When it's gone, it's gone. They're open Tuesday to Saturday from 11 a.m. to 8 p.m. So do yourself a favor and get there early. Wolf Smokehouse, they smoke all day. Next question is from Chad.
Hey.
There is a house on Forest Drive that continually parks 3 vehicles on the street. They have a garage and a long drive. I understand parking periodically, but this is constant. How can they be made to park in their driveway? That street is not designed for constant street parking.
Yeah. They can be encouraged, but they cannot be forced. It is a public street, and unless the traffic commission decides that one or both of the sides of the street is no parking, folks can park on private streets. Now, as long as the cars are movable, if they're in one spot all the time and haven't been moved in a while and may not be tagged properly, you can call code enforcement and they can investigate it and see if there's a violation there. But if they're coming and going, it could be too that there's, it could be a family of 6 and they've got 4 teenage drivers. Don't know the circumstance, but unfortunately, on public streets, if it's not marked accordingly as no parking on one or both sides, they have every legal right to park in the street.
Okay, next question is from Howard Tipton on Facebook, which is once again a very real Facebook profile, real person on Facebook, not just a troll account. Keep the 4-way stop at North and Washington. Fire the person who let Dollar General build next to the street.
Yeah, if anything, we're going to look at that once the signals are back up. I know before it was green only one way and green the other way, and then go to a more traditional light there as opposed to intermittent, and the I guess Dollar General was encouraged to place their facility as close to the corner as they could, just for aesthetics, I guess. I don't know. I wasn't in this position when that decision was made or conversation had with that Dollar General owner.
Okay.
Unfortunately.
Next question is from Jim. North Washington is a disgrace in certain areas. It's uneven, bumpy, and you really don't know what lane to be in. Yikes.
Absolutely. Jim. Yeah. And fortunately, it's going to be slated to be redone soon. soon as the weather permits. It was supposed to have been addressed at the end of last year, which is why, and I know we've talked about this too, that there was ADA ramp work being done along there because there were federal funds involved. All the intersections had to have ADA compliant ramps, and so doing those up and down North Washington from Jefferson needed to be completed before we could do what we need to and want to on North Washington. But totally agree, it's a mess, it's a disaster, and luckily it's going to get addressed this spring.
Got it. Next question is from, let's see, Vicky on Facebook. Why are residents still seeing long delays in snow removal on neighborhood streets after recent winter storms? Vicky on Facebook.
Hopefully there's not still some that need to be addressed. If there are, call in and let us know so we can get them out there. But again, after this last major snow event, which we received just over 8 inches, in some places because of the wind, it drifted and made it worse. We had to continue to address the primaries, got to the secondaries and tertiaries that Monday and even Tuesday. So hopefully everything's cleared up by now. I would like to think so. It's almost a week now since that event. But if there are still areas that need to be addressed, contact the city. Now, that doesn't mean the snow that was thrown up on sidewalks or in front of driveways and such. But to speak back to the question about cars being parked out a little ways, we can certainly consider going out to those areas where cars were parked. They're gone now, and there's mounds out to do that. So if that's what she's talking about, can definitely talk to the street department, see if we can try to address some of those areas where there's still snow, where cars were parked or totes were placed.
Okay, sweet.
Yep.
Let's give a shout out to our friends over at Indiana Affordable Pest Management. Affordable Pest Management. Indiana's trusted choice for residential and commercial pest control, wildlife removal, insulation services, crawl space cleanouts, and full home protection.
Do it all.
They deliver fast, reliable services with honest pricing and same-day emergency response when you need it most. They handle everything from general pests like ants, spiders, roaches, and bed bugs to wildlife issues involving raccoons, squirrels, bats, and groundhogs. Their team also provides crawl space cleanouts, vapor barrier insulation upgrades, gutter cleaning, power washing, holiday light installation, and more.
Man.
Protecting your home or your business inside and out. Homeowners, landlords, business owners, and property managers rely on APM for clear communication, professional inspections, and long-term solutions that save money. When customers can get 10% off their first service when they mention that they heard this ad on this show.
There you go.
Call them today at 765-450-8584 or visit indianaapm.com to schedule service or request a free quote.
Perfect.
Next question is from Jamie on Facebook. What factors are influencing Howard County's decision not to move to a critical travel advisory during major weather events?
Just the conditions of the roads. I mean, I know there was concerns with the amount of snow that we got, but city and county crews did a great job hitting the primaries and such that we didn't get the weather or the effects of the weather that many of the counties to the south of us experienced. Actually, I heard one guy from Carmel say, man, with the number of roundabouts we had down here, it was hard to get those cleared, apparently. I mean, so I think a lot of that comes into play on how crews are able to address those areas, or if ice is involved. That would be the weather-related ice. But no, I mean, with a lot of it depends on conditions, overnight temps, and even the resources that are available or the work that's being done by crews. So there you go.
Gotcha. Next question is from Lori on Facebook. They still haven't solved the sidewalk on the bridge on Markland after the roundabout, and my son was almost hit because he had to walk in the road. Solve the sidewalk, so maybe plowed the sidewalk?
I think, yeah. So the areas on that bridge there at Markland and Park. So we'll see what we can do to get somebody out there.
Okay.
Didn't know how much pedestrian traffic frequents that bridge area, but it sounds like there's at least one or a couple.
All right, let's pull these over. Next question is from Anne Marie on Facebook. Why do some of the? Oh wait, we already asked that question.
Okay.
Maybe that was a duplicate. 1 second.
Trolley stop question.
About
So,
have some shelters
do
and
and
some don't. Okay, Jimmy on Facebook.
Hey.
Mr. Mayor, are there any plans for a groundhog roast after the news that he saw his shadow this morning?
I'm sure there
not a
are
bad
plenty
idea.
of folks that would like to roast the groundhog with him predicting 6 more weeks of winter, but no, not here in Kokomo.
Okay. Casey on Facebook. With the Kokomo Jackrabbits 2025 season canceled due to a contract dispute, what is being done to bring local summer baseball back? Oh, Casey, we got some news for you.
Hey, the Kokomo Creek Chubs.
Where have you been?
Opening day, May 26th. It's a Tuesday. It's the only Tuesday game that they will have fireworks after the game. But, season tickets are online. You can go to the Kokomo Creek Chubs Facebook page, their website, and get all kinds of information. Summer baseball is back in Kokomo.
Oh, amazing. We got some interesting characters in the chat today.
Hey, good.
No.
Nice.
I kind of wish they weren't
okay.
here, to be honest. Some of them were trolling. I don't know. They're it is what it is. Okay.
We'll check it later.
Yeah, we'll talk about it later.
Okay.
Okay, let me ask this question from Rhonda on live chat. Do squatters have rights to stay in empty homes?
Only if they are permitted to do so by the property owners. Now, if it's abandoned homes, they're still private property. So if they're city properties, obviously no. If they're privately owned, probably not. So they could call and report that to have it investigated. But if it's primary or if it's privately owned and folks are in there. If the conditions aren't appropriate for living, they can call the Department of Health. We can call code enforcement. If they feel that they're in there, if they've broken in or in there illegally, you can call the police department to check it out. But if they're in there and knowingly doing so by the property owners, there's nothing that anybody can do because it's private property. But if they're in there illegally, please, by all means, report it. You can get that Kokomo Police Department's 411 app downloaded on the phone. You can submit anonymous tips there with an address and that concern if you want to stay anonymous about it.
Okay, we got one more ad read, and then we're going to finish off these questions from the live chat. So let's give a shout out to our friends over
at Berrycom.
Berrycom. If you're tired of buffering, spotty connections, or internet that can't keep up with your house or your business, it's time to switch to Berrycom. Berrycom is a local fiber internet provider serving, that's so fun to say for some reason, the local fiber internet provider serving the Kokomo area, bringing fast, reliable internet to the people who actually live and work here. Fiber means a stronger, more consistent connection for everything you do: streaming, gaming, working from home, video calls, running a business, all of it. Here's the best part. You're not calling some faraway help desk. With Berrycom, you're working with a local team that understands the community and shows up for it.
There you go.
Upgrade your connection and keep your day moving forward with Berrycom. Fiber internet built for Kokomo.
Love it.
Next question.
Hey.
The most impatient human being on the chat right now. Wesley on live chat.
Yes.
Is Kokomo due to getting new emergency service equipment or trucks? Can you explain why KFD has an ambulance collecting dust when they got 13 new firefighters? Shouldn't they be able to keep staff of all vehicles and help out the EMS crew? Granted, I know it's supposed to be a spare ambulance in case of other agencies are busy. Wesley on live chat.
Yes. So as I mentioned, we continue to hire because folks are retiring or leaving, and so we're basically just reloading. And ideally, the fire department would like to have some additional bodies on trucks. Now, that doesn't mean if we continue to hire and get to the point that they can comfortably provide that ambulance or bring that ambulance back into service, that's available. It's a decision that is made by the fire department, by the fire chief and his staff. In discussion with me, I'm going to support what they want. But as we continue to hire, it's to get more bodies on the trucks and to prevent additional overtime and cost in personnel. But yes, certainly, because again, like a lot of folks don't recall, and I know we've mentioned this, but it's been probably well over a year or so. The last time Kokomo had an ambulance in service, we had 122 firefighters. We're still sitting at 92. So, yeah, give me 30 more firefighters that we can afford to pay and bring on, and we can certainly look into that. But both hospitals are doing a great job providing that service. In fact, I think one or both of them are in the process of adding an additional truck to their fleet, and so the coverage is there, which allows us to continue to assist in those medical runs, but then also to have enough firefighters on trucks when we have to respond to a fire, like they did over the weekend. So.
Gotcha. Next question is from Ryan on live chat.
Hey.
What is the land around the area 400 North and 50 East? We talked about that earlier.
Yep.
Actually brought that question earlier.
Yeah, so if it was that from the live chat,
yes.
Maybe he's just now coming in.
Yep.
The property owners up there have requested to be voluntarily annexed, and they are the ones requesting it be rezoned. The city is not driving that. We're just assisting them, both the council with annexation and planning commission with rezoning, to accommodate the request and wishes that the property owners have asked.
Okay. Aaron on live chat. Are you worried about how many firefighters have recently left for Cicero? Do we have plans to not only hire more, but try to retain the firefighters that we have?
Not worried at all. Like I said, we've got a recruitment class of 13 coming in. I mean, so we're reloading. That allows younger bodies to come in and to gain that experience and to continue to serve the community, many of which they are from and were raised in. But yes, we continue to find ways to try and compete with other communities. I mean, other communities have a higher income tax base, a greater property tax base, and so that equates to more money into the city's coffers in order to pay a greater wage than what we can here in Kokomo. And I mean, talk to some of the surrounding communities that struggle with the same, that lose firefighters or police officers just to Kokomo, not necessarily just the donut communities. But yeah, we try to find ways as best we can. And I think he also asked about equipment. I mean, yeah, we've got another engine on its way, and planning on getting those into a better rotation to continue to replace aging out equipment. So
got it.
Yep.
Allie on live chat. How is Kokomo going to ensure the environment and resources can handle this industrial park? Also, how will this benefit any county residents with the growing population in Kokomo? Can both well, she's got a lot of questions. I think she asked three separate ones, so we're all in one. Yep. How is Kokomo going to ensure the environment and resources can handle the new industrial park?
It already can. So with the battery plant and the suppliers, the three major utilities, gas, electric, and water, increased the amount and availability of those resources to that site. And those facilities are only using, as I understand it, about a third of what that capacity is. So bringing in other industrial opportunities there will not put any more of a strain on those resources. And I get that a lot of people say, okay, well, if they need more water, more electric, whatever, it's going to get spread across, and everybody is going to see their rates go up. The state of Indiana has in place that, I mean, a lot of the infrastructure that results in an increase in that is required to be covered by the utility companies themselves. In some cases, even like our suppliers in the battery plant, I mean, they recycle water, and so that initial water supply goes in, but then it's recycled, and so that's probably, like in the case of the battery plant, not as much of that is being used. So I think with what was done to support the battery plant, and suppliers already can supply and accommodate the needs of additional industrial that may end up on those parcels.
She also want to know, how will this benefit any of the county residents?
It increases the property tax base. Because property taxes, there is a portion that goes to the county and to the city and such. I mean, so even bringing those properties into the city, those landowners and businesses, whatever would go in there, would still be paying property tax, and some of that goes to the county. It could, whatever goes in there could bring jobs. That could bring in additional income, which provides additional resources to both city and county governments, which we can then turn it to support our police, fire, trash, amenities, and such. And so just the opportunity of increasing the assessed valuation for what is collected is always a winner.
Okay. And then her last question is, with the growing population with Kokomo, can both hospitals support it with little specialties?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, because both hospitals do have some specialties. I mean, right now, without the population continuing to grow, I mean, the hospitals are looking within their footprints because they've got numerous facilities throughout central Indiana. People are already going different places for specialties as it stands now, so that wouldn't change.
Okay. Calvin on live chat, is it a little bit of a conflict of interest that the former county commissioner of Howard County is overseeing the real estate dealings to do with the annexation, along with sending certified letters to every house in the area from his real estate firm?
Well,
do you see a conflict of interest in that?
No, I mean, because there were people that would probably think if he were an elected official, that would be a conflict of interest. But as he was just mentioned, Mr. Wyman is no longer an elected official. He is working in his professional capacity as a business owner with his company. It just happens that a lot of those property owners have established a relationship with him or see the work that he's done and have reached out and contracted him or hired him to do work on their behalf. So not a conflict of interest as, again, he's no longer an elected official.
Eric on live chat, we're going to use common sense and not put a data center out of town, right?
Out of town?
Out of town.
In, out of town.
You're not.
Oh, probably or in our town.
Maybe.
In our town.
In our town, maybe?
No, it would depend on what the property owners or what decides to come. I mean, there's a lot that is, as we're starting to learn, because a data center could be a possibility, and we're looking into what data centers currently have or what they bring, how they can benefit the community that they would be in, the draw on utilities if there is one. I mean, so there's a lot of misinformation out there really about anything, not just data centers, that unfortunately gets people excited for sometimes the wrong reasons. So I think as long as we all as a community continue to educate ourselves on what's being proposed, I mean, if it's something that is going to be a draw or to a detriment to our community, then no, we're not going to support it. But if it is, then we will welcome any industry that would like to set up shop and can do so in Kokomo, especially if it's on private property and the property owners make the arrangements themselves to do, and it fits within the legal rights of however property is zoned or classified.
Michael on live chat, has it been talked about to put a stoplight at Hoffer Street and Washington Street with multiple accidents all the time when the shift's let out?
There has not been at this time. We can probably do some traffic studies to see if there's a backup at Hoffer going either direction. Specifically, it sounds like if it's after shifts at Chrysler, if they're sneaking down Hoffer to get back west. But no, I don't believe that we'd probably even look at the accident counts as well to see if it warrants it, but there's not been a desire or request for a stoplight there. Especially with others there at Deffenbaugh and one down at Boulevard being so close together. It would be, in my opinion, a detriment to the traffic flow down through there.
Okay. Chris on live chat, how are home ownership responsible to shovel sidewalks when the city owns it and the city only plows the snow on them?
The city does not own sidewalks. In some cases, they are in city right-of-ways. Now we're responsible for the trails. So if you talk about Center Road, our crews were probably clearing the snow off of the trail in Center, but if it's a sidewalk, the sidewalk belongs to the property owner. And I know that folks are like, well, don't throw the snow from the street onto the sidewalk. Well, if we don't throw the snow from the street onto the sidewalk, that means we're not moving the snow from the street, and folks would rather see the snow removed from the street than onto the sidewalk. And yes, it's unfortunate that then it gets on the sidewalk, and it's their property owner's responsibility to clear that. And if people on either side of you, that if you take the effort to clear your sidewalk, they're not down on either way, it still creates a hindrance. But it was a lot of snow, folks. It'll eventually melt, and I get that there's folks that need to walk to trolley stops and everything, but just really be aware if you're out on the street and somebody is unable to walk on a sidewalk and must walk in the street. I mean, it is a right-of-way. Folks are not prohibited from walking in the street. We just need to be conscious that there may be those that do so, because there are some areas in the city that don't have sidewalks, and folks are required to walk in the street. So,
okay. Chad on live chat, since you are charging for trash, do you think the driver should have to get out and pick up the mess after the dump?
We should have, it can be reported, and we can have somebody come up and do so. If the tote topples over after it's been empty, sometimes it's due to snow or a curb or something. I try to encourage them to do so, but if it tips over while they're doing it, I mean, yes, they need to radio back and have somebody come out and help clean that up. If it's something that when they've approached the tote and it's tipped over, they can probably call that in as well. But if things are bagged, then it's good. But sometimes if folks are putting loose trash in, I get that recycling is required to be loose as well. It can create an issue. But if you see something that's too much of a mess, yes, please call the street department, and we can see if we can get a rear loader or somebody out that can help address that.
Okay. Andy on live chat, how about sending out the plows to clean up the side of the roads now, like on 931 in Markland? The roads aren't completely edged off yet. Some lanes are still being blocked. Andy,
in which direction? If it's 931 on Markland, I mean, if it's 931, it's NDOT, and they, could very well come back through. But yeah, I mean, again, as long as things are passable, I mean, it may not be, the most accommodating, especially if people are walking or trying to stand out there. But yeah, as the time warrants and the opportunity presents itself, I mean, yeah, we can probably see where there may be areas that we could clean up, and so we have foremen go out and try to assess situations and such. But if it's at 931 on Markland, that would be NDOT, unless it's a little further east or west along Markland.
Chris had a follow-up question about his sidewalks. So if I own the sidewalk, that means I can tear it up and plant grass?
Yes.
Cool. Next question from Andy on live chat. How about sending out the... Oh, wait, we just read that one. Ryan on live chat. What are we doing to bring in new jobs and businesses into Kokomo that's not related to Chrysler?
Like I said, one of the possibilities of this land that's being annexed and rezoned could be a dedicated industrial park like we tried to do 7 years when I started. So that would be the opportunity. Other than that, working on amenities to try and get folks to recognize Kokomo as a great place to live and work and have industry invest here. So as facilities become available, the city doesn't own them. We can help market them or make them known either to site selectors and such. But we work with the Alliance as well as with the IADC when we get leads, even some of the utility companies, to try and get things brought here.
BK on live chat was referencing when you were talking about the property owners. Once again, this was talking about the land north of the current battery plant. You had mentioned the property owners can get down and say, we don't want this here. He wants to know, is Paul Wyman and or the Wyman Group the property owners that supposedly want this to be annexed in?
I don't believe so. He just represents the property owners. I mean, I think the parcel numbers were listed on the notice, but it's my understanding that not one of those parcels is owned by Paul Wyman or the Wyman Group. He just was hired as their representative, as a real estate agent and developer to assist them in what they needed to do.
Okay. Sunny on live chat. The light at Morgan and Washington has been flashing for a few weeks now. Do you plan on taking it out for a four-way stop? Also, are there any plans for the light at Morgan and... Oh, he asked the same question twice. Yeah, Morgan and Washington, he says.
The one at North and Washington has been, but I didn't think the one at Morgan and Washington has been flashing. I'll have them check on that. But no, it's not there's no plans to take the one at Morgan in Washington out, especially with our Station 3 there. So I'd have to see why that one would be flashing. But the one at North in Washington is flashing because semi-truck took the light signal out.
Brian on live chat, I hear the old GM plant has some activity. Any truth to this, hopefully?
Yes, there is. They're working on slowly bringing folks back and working on a product that supports the manufacturing in other plants elsewhere. And so we're excited to see the flutter of activity out there, and are keeping our fingers crossed that they continue to work toward expanding either that product line or additional product lines as GM continues to move forward. So fingers crossed. Again, part of the reason they said, what are we doing out here? I mean, we're making things, happen here in Kokomo so that it gets the attention of major manufacturers to say, oh, Kokomo isn't just a small podunk community that's, too far north of the donut communities or too far south from any others. I mean, so fingers crossed.
Brett on live chat, we hear a lot of crazy talk about some states wanting to abolish property taxes. I think Florida was in that conversation.
Okay.
I've seen that too. Where would they recoup the lost revenue, and who would control it?
Yeah, so if you do away with property taxes, and I just mentioned I was in Oklahoma. Oklahoma has very few property taxes, and the property tax they collect goes straight to the schools. There's no property tax that's collected and given to the municipalities. It's primarily all sales tax and income tax. So I would assume that if the state legislature continue to move that way, we would see an increase in sales tax and possibly income tax versus property tax. But I know that's been a discussion for decades, I think, down in the state legislature, but nobody's seriously moved that direction. So who knows with what was recently done in Senate Bill 1, that might give them a little nudge or opportunity to continue to look at that. But where it would be replaced by sales tax, income tax, and probably additional user fees.
Gary has a question more specifically about how rural residents can benefit from taxation from these additional businesses you are trying to lure to this proposed industrial site when the city gives them years of tax abatements. Because chat's going bonkers right now. Let me get something straight. This land that is being discussed, is that in city limits still, or is
no?
So it's being annexed. Then?
It's being annexed. That's
for
part
sure
of this
happening, or that's all a part of this possible plan, annexation happening and
the
development. All of this is still up in the air.
All it's still up in the air. Yeah. So
Okay.
they want annexed into the city so that they have the opportunity to try and get city services, or to get the city to participate in some way. And at the same time, rezoning to stay consistent with what's out there, because many corporations, and we can put data centers aside, and no matter what it is, corporations would rather come to an area that's in an incorporated city limit or an incorporated area versus unincorporated. And so that's where the impetus probably is from those property owners wanting to be in the city. And at the same time, depending on the corporation, or some ask for tax abatements, some don't. Tax abatements are tied to jobs. If a corporation comes in and they don't have a lot of jobs, probably not going to get a lot of tax abatements, or even be considered for that. Now if we do a site-specific TIF, which is a tax increment funding district, then the increment that's increased can get collected and go back in. I mean, there's opportunities, with that we can distribute some of that increment, if it's not necessarily needed back in there, to the county, to the schools, to other municipalities. I mean, so there's benefits to that if we're receiving that, we don't have to receive it all, and can spread a little bit of the wealth more so than if it stayed unincorporated and it just developed without it.
Okay. As of right now, the last question is from Angelina. Why don't we use the GM plant that is closed, put manufacturing there, and data centers don't pollute more good, valuable farm ground? Angelina is also just very concerned about this annexation, saying it doesn't matter what we want, the government will take the land that they want. So maybe let's do some education on how annexation
So the
process
government's
works.
not taking it. Now, if it was involuntary, if we were out there and saying we want it, I mean, back in 2012, the previous administration did that. There was an involuntary annexation east and west that they brought in 12,000 properties, or 12. I forget how many property, but it increased the population by 12,000. So maybe not 12,000 properties, but anyway, that was involuntary. So that was the government taking land. The annexations that have occurred in the last 6 years have all been voluntary, have all been tied either to the potential for development. I mean, there was a voluntary annexation of land along North Dixon up to Judson Road because there was going to be housing put in there. I mean, so that was the property owner saying, hey, we want in because there's the opportunity for city services and stuff if we put these houses in. I mean, so up around the battery plant, these are voluntary annexation. The battery plant property owners themselves were voluntary. They wanted to develop it, and so in order to develop it the way they wanted it in the city, and so they've asked. So every annexation that's happened in the last 6 years has been voluntary, has been the property owners coming to the city saying, we want in because this is what we may be doing with it or want to do with it. So everything up there is in that boat. What was the other one?
Well, Angelina is just concerned. Well, one, she was saying, why can't the old GM plant be
GM
used?
plant, yeah.
But that sounds like...
Yeah, so that would be up to GM. I mean, so if the GM folks, if General Motors wants to reach out to data centers and say, hey, we've got a facility right here, they can do so. Now, because of the tie-in to the union, it's my understanding that really any development that occurs there either has to be tied to the union or get the union sign off as well. And so therein lies that. But at the same time, as we've heard, if there's just because there's facilities there, it may not be conducive to what a corporation may want. Look at the battery plant. A lot of people said, why didn't we drive the battery plant there? They obviously needed space, wanted space, and so it wasn't going to fit in GM. GM's sites are dated buildings. I mean, there may be somebody that, looking at the cost that they would incur rehabbing a current facility to their needs is just as much or more than building new on a brownfield site. I mean, so a lot of it is the property owners themselves, and in this case, if GM sees empty buildings and sees the opportunity to bring in other industrial uses or tenants, if you will, that would be up to them. I mean, we've marketed the GM plant and tried to direct folks there to have conversations, but again, we can only lead these horses to the water. Sure. We can't make them drink.
So real quick, let's say the idea of this annexation goes through. Who approves? Because the city can't just be like, that's our land now, right? Or like, what's the process for this land to be annexed in if it's not a voluntary that you were explaining earlier? Like, what is this process? Let's say the homeowners that are around there, it sounds like there's quite a few of them on this chat right now that are not interested in being in the city. They do not want a data center or however whatever is potentially being put out there. Data center is not something that's confirmed.
Yeah, there's going to be a series of public hearings, both at council meetings for the annexation and planning commission for the rezoning, and then the rezoning would then go to the council as well. So this is, the whole annexation and rezoning is going to be probably a 2.5 month process. So there's going to be opportunities for people to be heard and stuff, but if there's not a legal way for either the annexation to be denied or the rezoning to be denied, then, yes, I guess folks could look at that and say that it's a done deal. But just like the annexation that occurred back in 2012, there was a group on the east side that hired legal counsel and challenged the city at that point and actually won. And so they were carved out. So there were areas that carved out. The same thing could happen. If there are a group of property owners or concerned citizens that don't want this annexed in, they could get legal counsel and they could probably, fight it. But again, because it's voluntary, then yes, they go through the process on educating and hearing public notice. But if there's not a legal reason for folks to have that, to keep a property owner from doing what they want with their property, then yeah, there may not be as much ability to do anything. But I mean, that's the part. It's not an involuntary one versus voluntary. Same way with rezoning. If there's not, I mean, if it fits the, if it's not considered spot zoning, so if they were in the middle of a residential area and they wanted heavy industrial, yeah, that could get voted down. But because heavy industrial is right next door to it, even though there's ag and a few scattered residential, I mean, if there's not a true legal reason to deny rezoning or to stop the annexation or to encourage or entice the property owners to withdraw their request for annexation, then, I mean, yeah, there's not a whole lot more to do outside of getting the information, heard and concerns and to be educated on what's being done.
Okay. A few more questions came in.
Okay.
Robert on live chat, when will the lines be put on Alto Road?
As soon as the weather
what a pivot.
Conducive. I mean, it's the paint on the street doesn't do well in sub-freezing temperatures.
Okay. Next question is from Mariah. I heard a while ago that Gateway Gardens is moving out to West Sycamore. Is that true, or is it still happening?
As far as we know, it's not happening right now. That was a whole rezoning and such that happened then. The company that was spearheading that development has kind of gone radio silent, and so we've not seen any thing come through the Planning Commission office that would indicate that they're moving forward on the development there or on their scattered sites. So we don't know where that stands in regards to relocating the units that are at Gateway Gardens or Garden Square, whichever you want to call it.
Okay.
So, all right.
One last question.
Okay.
And this is it. Cutting it off to this.
Yep.
From Cindy on live chat. Paul Wyman is asking property/homeowners on 450 North and 50 East, giving them 48 hours to decide and telling them it's a done deal. If these homeowners do not sell to him, which Paul isn't buying this land, will the city claim eminent domain and take these homes at a later time?
No, because Paul Wyman is not working for the city of Kokomo. The city of Kokomo is not driving this. I don't know what letters have been circulated. I don't know what conversation have been had saying things that are a done deal. I mean, he's probably given notice to these property owners that there's a town hall meeting Thursday night if they want to come in and get information or to, hear what's maybe being proposed. And he might be saying, well, I mean, because it's a voluntary annexation, it's a done deal. Because it's rezoning, it's conducive, that's pretty much a done deal. But, I mean, there's nothing, I mean, if this annexation doesn't go through, if the property owners decide to pull out, the city is not going to involuntarily make these properties come into the city of Kokomo or any adjacent properties. This administration is not interested in any type of involuntary annexation or eminent domain.
All right. That is where we'll cut it off today. Thanks for that good discussion.
Good stuff.
Obviously a heated topic
sir.
now in Kokomo.
Exciting things.
Thank you guys for the questions. Thank you, Mr. Mayor, for sticking out.
Absolutely.
That was
it's a long one.
show today.
Thanks for those that tuned in and stuck it out as well.
Gotcha. Well, thank you guys for watching. Thank you for the comments. If you do have a question, maybe you're watching this again later, leave it in the chat below. We always go back and pull those questions from last week's show that we might have missed. Mr. Mayor, do you have a dad joke for us today?
I don't see my shadow, so we're not going to have 6 more weeks of this show. But no, do you know how to make pork sausage?
I'm guessing with pork?
No, groundhog.
There it is. Thanks for watching this episode of the Mayor Tyler Moore Show. Appreciate everybody commenting today. And if you have any questions for next week's show, let us know. We do the show every Monday around 3:30. We'll see you next time, Kokomo.
See you, Kokomo.